Hello, welcome along. Thanks for joining us. It's round 12 of the UCI Cyclocross World Cup. We are back in Belgium, and you would say the iconic course here in Zonhoven, de Kool, the sandpit, the death-defying drops that you have here that the riders have to tackle into the sand. Our young spectator there giving us a view of just how steep it is as we drop in. Ceylin Alvarado leading in the World Cup overall, 312 points, not starting today, back issues after yesterday's race. Lucinda Brand in second, 237 points, and then Puck Peters a third with 120. In our under-23 classification, Leonie Bentfeld leading with 174 points ahead of Marie Schreiber with 163 and Zoe Backstead with 151. When we were here last year, let's hear from Lucinda Brand.
Points, that's a lot, of course, but Ceylin isn't here, so can you take your chance today?
It's not my main goal. My main goal is doing a good race here and try to win the race. And with Puck is still really good in form, so it's going to be a really hard battle to win this race. So it's more what comes with it, and still, even if I do win, then it's still a big gap.
Puck Peters, your first race of 2024, so you have to be so fresh as a young child.
For sure, it's like the season has just begun, of course, new year. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. The legs were good during recon, so yeah, I'm happy to be racing.
To dive in that pit, are you afraid? No, I don't think so.
I almost crashed just now there because I was just going way too. So yeah, you need to be really careful down there.
Fem is not here, Ceylin is not here, so everybody is thinking now Puck will win.
We'll see. I hope, of course, to have another good day like the past few races.
Zoe Backstead with a big smile, of course, after your win yesterday. Congratulations for that. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm feeling good today. I've just done 2 laps recon, and just to see the course, I came here on Wednesday to ride it and see the lines a little bit. I mean, it's a lot in the sand, so you can't really take a specific line, you just take the rut. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yesterday was a great race, so I'm just here to have a little bit more fun today in the snow.
That's true, yeah. How do you feel concerning diving in that pit?
I'm a little bit nervous for it. I crashed there lap 1 last year, so yeah, it wasn't my favorite. It kind of, yeah, wasn't quite nice to land on the concrete at the bottom, but it's a lot smoother this year. They've done a good job to make it a lot safer, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it, even if I am a little bit nervous. I think that just brings my excitement up as well a little bit.
This is a race without Fem van Empel, without Ceylin. Does that change a lot for you?
Probably not. They're always in the front, but maybe it's not that fast start when Fem is not here. But yeah, all the other good riders are here, so yeah, it's a battle till the end today. And yeah, I hope it's 2 places shorter than otherwise. But yeah, we'll see.
And a race in your own region, does that give an extra boost?
Yeah, I think there will be a lot of spectators. In Kokstad it was our summit, gave me goosebumps, so I hope it's today the same.
Great to hear from today's potential protagonists. Thanks for joining us today, Martin McDonald and Helen Wyman, to take you through today's race action. Helen, a race that you know really well.
Yeah, it's been in the calendar a really long time. It used to be a super prestige. It was the big sand bit, the Kool, as we've been learning how to say it, is an epic feature. And the noise and the spectators of this race, it's absolutely one of the favourite races for the riders on the calendar.
If you're with us on the TV, you're off for a short break before we kick things off. Come back.
Even though this race is now a World Cup, I don't think that it's necessarily changed how it feels to the riders. The riders, it's always been an important race, just because, like I say, it's that big bowl of sand that kind of echoes all the noise, and it keeps all the smells in of the food truck and the cigarette smoke and the beer, and it really feels something special when you drop into that on the first lap in a big group. It's just epic.
Buck Peterson just coming up to the line, and the UCI commissaire there just checking the tyre width. Let's have a look back, though, at Holstar last round. What a race it was. It was one of, let's say, one of the most epic races of the season. Fem Van Empel at Kant in 29.
Going on them, so they'll still be able.
Round 12, front row, Lucinda Brown, Buck Peterson, Manon Bakker, Inge van der Heijden, Leonie Bent-Verdaan, under 23 leader, Marie Schreiber, Anne Reversed, and Zoe Backstead getting that front row start. The iconic De Coil course, the drop into the sand pit today here in Zonhoven. Watch the lights, Buck Peterson in the center, poised and ready. We're green, we're go, we're off and racing. Backstead on the left in the British Champs jersey. Schreiber on the right in the Luxembourg Champions jersey. Gets a great start. As always, Blanca Vash moving up for Team SD Works. Leonie Bentfeld getting a great start, but it's Marie Schreiber that leads in ahead of Bentfeld. Backstead, Verst, Vash, Peterson. Right up there, Christina Zemanova moving up. There's Lucinda Brand, Blanca Vash, Inge van der Heijden. Laura Verdonschot, who we heard from before the start. And Laura, we've got to say, being a local as well, she is the sand queen.
She's a sand expert. Her and Sana Kant are the favourites for in any sand race. They always raise their game above what we've seen them racing during the season. But we've seen Verdonschot have some incredible results so far this year over Christmas in the sand races. So I would expect her to be aiming for a podium for sure. And Peters comes straight through to the front of the race. These sections, important to not lose places because you want to try and get into that sand descent in the first few. If you're not in the first few, the good lines get taken. You end up on lines that you might not have tried, and it's just crazy, crazy, as you can see now.
Take us through this. You've ridden this race. Take us through this drop.
So you're dropping in. You're trying to just follow the lines as they go. You've got to keep your speed. You're looking to your exit point, and you're hoping that the bike doesn't go too crazy. And you can see there that the bikes just go everywhere. On the other side, we've seen some riders in the men in the past ride up this, but I don't think we've ever seen any of the women ride up this section. But again, it's all about speed and dismounting while you still have speed, because that's just as important to maintain your momentum in sand, because as soon as you stop, the bike stops, everything just grinds to a halt.
So Magali Rochette going through. Eva Holmgren going through, back to the front. Peterson, Schreiber, Backstead, Brandt, Bentfeld, Van der Heijden, Vash, and then, Puck Peterson, just, she got a rear wheel puncture here, Puck Peterson, signalling to the pit crew that she's got an issue. Lucinda Brand comes through.
Yeah, she's got a rear flat there.
And the kind of, could that be from what Zoe Backstead was talking about in terms of you drop down off the sand onto the concrete at the bottom, potentially?
It could easily be any of that. There's lots of little stones and rocks on this section where the material post is. There's lots of like tiny little grit stuff, and anything like that could happen from the start. They might have gritted the road in order to not have it freeze overnight, things like that. But she's lost a lot of places, but she hasn't lost a lot of time in this section, and she has time now to move it back up in the grassy sections before they then hit the sand again.
Swift pit change there for Puck Peterson, drops in behind Laura Verdonschot, just in front of Christina Zemanova. Lucinda Brand leading out. And we follow, if you go back and check, if you want to get an idea of what that drop looks like or this course looks like from a rider's perspective, as we always say, go and check out Puck Peterson's YouTube video on her channel, because she does these videos and they're brilliant. She talks around the course. She follows Lucinda Brand in as well. So have a look at that. It'll give you a view of what the riders are seeing and just how steep that drop into the sand. But we can see Puck Peterson trying to move up here, and Lucinda on the sand as well, on those drops. And they have changed the course, haven't we? We've got an extra drop to what we had previously.
They have from the past. Yeah, last year when it was a World Cup, it had that extra drop too. But this is a really dangerous position for Peters right now, because Brand knows that she had a problem. She saw her go into the pits, and if she puts in a solid lap, it's going to be really, really tough for Peters to come back to her at this point. And she's trying to use other lines, but there really aren't more than one line in these races when it comes to sand. Beautiful riding there by Marie Schreiber.
Yeah, Blanka Vas just coming to a bit of a halt. Puk Pedersen does as well. There's a little sense here. Puk Pedersen's just got to try, and you've got to try and stay as calm as possible in this position, in this situation. Listen to the crowd. There's cacophony of sound around here.
Yeah, but it's really tricky to do to stay calm when you know that there's only one racing line in these sections in the sand. If somebody, like you can see Blanka Vas is making a bit of a mess of that corner, and so Puk's trying to come round, but every time you go off the racing line, she loses a spot again, and I think she's a little bit panicked at this point, and you really need to just stay incredibly calm and work your way back to the front of this race and hope that Brand hasn't got too far from the front. But yeah, like I say, it's a dangerous place to be in.
Lucinda Brand leading out, recognises the opportunity here to try and go clear the second place rider in the World Cup overall, but she said in her pre-race interview that's not what she was focused on. If you weren't with us at the top of the show, Ceylin Alvarado not starting today. Back issues that she had yesterday, getting some slow-mo shots there of Lucinda Brand and Zoe Backstead. Puk Pedersen here, just trying to move up places, and she's taking that risk of taking some very different lines through some of the sand sections as well. Look
where their eyes are going. When you see them in slow motion like that, you can see their eyes are looking far, far ahead, and that's what you really have to do in cyclocross on sand. You really need to look to the exit point. There's no use looking down because your bike's going to go wherever it's going to go, and you literally have to look to where that Paushausen blow-up is, because that's the next object that you're looking for, and now you're looking to the tree. You're looking so far ahead in sand because that's the only way to get through it.
And this is the drone shot. We've got the drone out today following Lucinda Brand, just giving you a great view here of the line that she is having to take. And this section here, there's literally one line on that right-hand side that you really want to take.
There's one line, you want to be in first, you want to take control of it, you want to be able to ride that, and if somebody doesn't quite have the same power as you ahead and makes a fault and isn't able to, they get off and stop, and everyone, you can see these riders are all running all the way back to Kant, and we know Kant's capable of riding that section. So somebody makes one mistake or bobbles in front of you, and then that's the line that Puk just took then, that we see her trying on her pre-ride video. She got the guy with her to have a go at it for her, and she's just been able to take a place, but it's a big gap now.
It's 6 seconds from Lucinda Brand to Inge van der Heide and Zoe Backstead, and then we've got Marie Schreiber and Puk Pedersen who are at roughly 12 seconds, but Puk is making some progress. So Marie Schreiber, then Annemarie Wurst, Leonie Bentfeld, Christina Zemanova, Laura Verdonschot and Laura Mollengrath are your top 10. But Lucinda Brand really throwing it down now. If you just joined us, Puk Pedersen puncture early on in this Zonhoven World Cup. Had to change an early bike, but she is chasing hard to try and get back into contention. But we've got to think back to Holst, you know, in the epic race where it was Lucinda Brand and Ceylin Alvarado that spent the whole day hunting down Puk Pedersen.
Yeah, I mean, Brand has seemed to get stronger and stronger over the Christmas period. Holst is quite a technical race, so that suits the skills of Peters and Alvarado. Brand has been working really well on her sand skills with Sven Nys, who's an ultimate sand specialist this year, and so she's definitely come on a lot in these kind of conditions. When the ground's wetter, the sand is easier to ride. It creates flatter sections. As you can see, some of those sand sections, which are normally an obstacle, aren't today. I mean, Puk even said in her video, I've been run training this week and I don't need to do, there's only 10 seconds of running. So, whereas normally in a race like this, you'd have a lot more. But Brand is super strong, and she's a diesel, and she's capable of holding this really high effort for the entire 50 minutes of the race.
We're going through at the end of lap 1. Lucinda Brand leads, and there's the gap now. Inge van der Heide and Zoe Backstead coming around that bottom corner. The gap we're being shown is 12 seconds. We'll see when they cross the line. Puk Pedersen trying to get back to Zoe Backstead and van der Heide, 12 and 13 seconds respectively. And then Annemarie Wurst, Leonie Bentfeld, Schreiber and Zemanova are your next group going through. Laura Verdonschott in 9th. Laura Mollengrath here of the Charles Lejoie Roastery coffee team, CX team. That's their new team name. She goes through in 10th, having a great day out. Blanca Vass in 11th. Sanna Kant in 12th. Ava Holmgren from Lidl Trek, the Canadian rider, is up there in 13th. Alicia Frank 14th. Manon Bakker 15th. Helene Clausel 16th. Magali Rochette is in 17th. Larissa Hartog 18th. Denise Betzman 19th. Annick Van Alphen is in 20th place at the moment. So that is our top 20. Here go. This is the next group going through. There's Magali Rochette going through, leading that group. Lucinda Brand hits the sand. As Puck Peterson called her out on her pre-ride video, Lucinda on fire in the sand. Just has to get off there. Zoe Backstead goes right. She's
so close to making it over the top of that hill, though. Oh, little come together there between Van der Heijden and Backstead. They both want to come into this first. I mean, I'm sure one of these riders is going to try and ride this hill at some point, but Puck did a really great thing there, jumped off with lots of momentum, put her foot in the marks. Now she's just got to use this next section that is in the field to try and come around them and to come into second spot, and then slowly make her way back to Brand if she's capable of it.
Marie Schreiber of Team SD Works. She's got her teammate Blanca Vass in the race. Laura Verdonschott, local rider. We heard from her before the start. Sand specialist. And Lucinda Brandt, as Helen said, working a lot on her sand riding with Sven Nys. Zoe mentioned it in her interview as well. They were out here on Wednesday, a lot of the riders, testing it out, riding it, because this sand has a different feel to it as well, this Ornhoden sand.
Yeah, and here comes Peters now around Van Heijden and coming up to Backstead. Yeah, you can pre-ride the day before a World Cup, so yesterday there was a lot of riders pre-riding, because you might then stay in the region if you're not from this area or within a driving distance. But also the courses are up for at least a week to 2 weeks beforehand, so you'd have been able to ride this course for a really long time. They only put the sponsorship bits on at the last minute, but the barriers are up. There's wooden spikes everywhere, and so you can come here training. And this is actually an area that you can ride your bike on anyway in normal times when there's no bike race on. So you can come here to train, to learn how to do these things. The lines are only in when people have put the lines in. So even though you pre-ride the day before, there might be the lines won't be as deep, the course is never as well ridden, things like that, and in sand, your line choices can change every single lap because somebody's fallen off or somebody's put footprints in or something's happened and that really good line is no longer there and you have to switch again. So sand is good because it's always making you think.
Puck Peterson trying to get back to Zoe Backstead, just using that little technique there, just skipping that round, but just losing a few seconds there. Puck Peterson does the same. Did see Zoe sort of managing to ride that section in pre-ride. Back to Lucinda Brandt. See that energy gel just taped to the top tube. Backstead into the next section. She's been on the podium of the elite races this year. Third is her highest finish in an elite World Cup is Zoe Backstead, starting the year in great fashion, a Young Canyon SRAM rider.
This course requires a lot of power, a lot of endurance and a lot of fitness, because when you're not riding, you're running. And like I said, the field sections, which in the past have been quite dry and so quite almost recovery, are no longer recovery because they've got quite a bit of mud. So again, it's another tough course. Like yesterday with all that mud in Gulligam, it was a really tough course. Coxsider is an epic sand course where there is absolutely zero recovery in the entire course, no matter what the weather conditions. And so these riders are coming into this a bit more tired. And that's quite often when you see the older riders, like the likes of Brand, we're not calling them old, but older. And they have that built-in endurance from extra years of training, and they're able to still perform at a really good level. after so many races over the Christmas period.
Inge van der Heide from Creelan Corendon. Great performance yesterday in that leading group with this rider here, Zoe Backstead. Back to the drone. Just talk us through Lucinda's lines through here. It's a great shot.
So she's trying to find the harder pack section, which you could see on the right-hand side there. She didn't quite make that corner, which means that she's going to have to run the whole way up this hill, whereas if she took a tiny bit less speed in at the bottom... Oh, she's remounted halfway up. If she took a tiny bit, adjusted her speed a little bit, and I think it's just getting really, really tricky there. You can see Puck, yeah, so Puck adjusted her speed, accelerated out of it, and is able to stay on the bike, but because Zoe's in front of her hasn't, Zoe's had to get back on uphill in the sand, which is really, really tricky to do.
But a great shot there, as you said, you can see the power as well that Zoe Backstead just putting down there, managing to just hand-sling along the barrier and then really dropping that power to get going again.
Remounting in sand is really, really difficult because your bike moves when it's, and you move. So even though you jump like you would normally jump, you can't jump as high because the sand moves under your feet as you're trying to get on your bike. So it is really, really tricky. You can see in the background there 2 different lines that Peters and Backstead took. Peters went a lot more around the outside, whereas Backstead took an inside line. And these lines were there on the first lap, but now these lines aren't necessarily there. And so riders really need to adapt their thought process in sand races, which makes it even trickier because, as you saw, the line that Backstead took the lap before, which everyone else took, is no longer there.
15 seconds is the gap between Lucinda Brand, Zoe Backstead and Puck Petersen. 22 to Inge van der Heide. Anna-Marie Verst now at 44 seconds in 5th. Kristina Zemanova having another great day out. The Czech national champion from Brilon is in 6th at 45 seconds. Under 23 World Cup leader Leonie Bentfeld is in 7th at 46 seconds. At 8th at 48 seconds is Laura Verdonschot. We've got Blanca Vass in 9th at 58 seconds, and then rounding out our top 10 at the moment of 59 seconds is Marie Schreiber, who got her trademark fast start in this one. I'll run you through your top 20 as Backstead, Petersen and Van der Heiden go through. Sanne Kant in 11th at 1:02. Lara Mollengrath is in 12th. Alicia Frank now up to 13th. Eva Holmgren in 14th, Canada. Helene Clauzel of France in 15th. Manon Bakker, Denise Betzema, Annick Van Alphen and Larissa Hartog 19th. And then Judith Kral of Heisermatt from Germany is in 20th spot with Magali Rochette. 21st, Alessandra Keller in 23rd spot. And Isabella Holmgren is in 24th spot. Lucinda Brand coming around at the end of the lap. 8:21 was her first lap time. That's the fastest lap of the race so far. If you're just tuning in today, welcome aboard. It is the UCI Cyclocross World Cup for elite women here in Zonhoven, round 12 of 14. World Cup leader Ceylin Alvarado not starting today. It's second placed overall Lucinda Brand that is leading in the race, and she has 19 seconds over Puck Petersen and Zoe Backstead of Great Britain. Inge van der Heide is in 4th spot.
So even though we've seen Peters has upped the pace on that lap, she's got through the traffic, she's able to move to the front and set her own pace. She was still 8.5 seconds slower than Lucinda Brand's fastest lap, which was the first lap. So I think Brand is actually stronger right now today in this race. We'll have to see how Peters gets to accelerate now. She's in a free spot to do the whole race on her own lines, but Brand seems like she's actually riding faster.
Lap 3 of 6 that we are on. We have a 6-lap race here in Zonhoven today. The battle for 2nd and 3rd as Lucinda Brand drops into the coil, into the sandpit, the famous sandpit here in Zonhoven, looking to try and carry as much speed into this next section. Can she make it up? Makes it quite high, not far away. She wasn't far away from making it in her pre-ride. Puck Petersen just starting to distance Zoe Backstead just very, very slightly. The Canyon SRAM rider just dropping in.
The hardest part about going into this section is the very top, because you have to turn in the sand